Yep.
We got Mr. Brandon DesJarlais on the podcast, baby. What's up, dude?
Man, I am so excited to be here.
Yeah,
so
thanks
happy
for coming.
to finally meet you.
Yeah,
Heard good things about you as well.
I've been following your page for quite a bit, which is kind of ironic because we have a lot of mutual friends.
We do.
Like, I didn't know that you were part of that community or something, but like, I just feel like-minded people who are in the movement. There is a ton of us in LA, but there's not. Like, it's a pretty small community. Would you say? What do you think?
You know, I've been so surprised moving to Los Angeles, being that it's such a big city, so much bigger than my hometown, Salem, Oregon. It's like 200,000 people. Such a big city, but I feel like it's so much more connected than my hometown. And it's maybe just sheer numbers, right? Like, we live in this category of like people 25 to 35-ish that are outdoorsy and fitness and getting shit done and like kind people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm always so surprised that when I meet someone like you and it's like, oh yeah, we have like 50 mutual friends.
Yeah.
And I'm just reminded that like, okay, whenever I meet someone that's interesting and kind, there's a pretty good chance that they know a bunch of people I know, even though we might be spread around the whole city.
The kind part is interesting because I don't know if you had this stereotypical vibe of Los Angeles of like uptight, selfish people. That's what I had. And then this community or the people in the movement space or people who do longboarding or acro yoga or into martial arts or in American Ninja Warrior, like most of them are super kind people. Yeah. And like it really changed my perspective on Los Angeles.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And even just like the global, I won't speak on fitness, but let's just say global skate community sometimes can be a bit abrasive.
Okay.
And like there's players in that. I'm sure it's the same with fitness. Some dudes that got a huge head and like are just kind of dicks. And so if you live in a more remote place and it's like the people you're around, it's like, okay, we're cool. But like maybe some of the more prominent figures are like a little more egoistic or a little more like full of themselves. Or you can have like these perceptions.
Yeah.
But it's like coming to Los Angeles and being able to see like so many examples of like kind people that are dreamers and they're successful and they just genuinely want the best for everyone around them.
It's like everyone wins.
It changed the game for me.
Do you think there's a benefit to the ego brash types who a lot of them are pretty good in the space? Like there's a reason why they are super successful, maybe monetarily or social media wise. You know, there's a few. We can name a few in every like category. Do you think there's a benefit to that?
I think there's pros and cons with everything, obviously. You know, I think a lot of people
What's the con to being kind, though?
Well, sometimes kind people, and this has been me in the past, sometimes kind people can get taken advantage of in the wrong spaces, right?
Okay.
If you're in a room, which is most of the rooms that I'm in nowadays, everyone wants the best for everyone else, and everyone actively tries to give more than they receive. And when you're in a space like that, it's just abundant. There's just like so much to go around and there's never like this fear or scarcity or like unnecessary competitiveness.
Yeah.
And so, but the problem is if you take someone that's really kind, just giving, and you have people in the group that are like taking, or like using people or like selfish, it can just like drain the energy of kind people if they don't have good boundaries maybe, right?
Yeah.
So I've been that person in the past. And it's like, for me, I was like, man, for a while, just felt like I was getting taken advantage of in different situations and scenarios. And then I was like, am I just being too nice? Am I being too kind?
Yeah.
And then I came to realize that, no, I'm not being too kind. I'm just surrounded by assholes.
Yeah. Just got to switch the environment.
Totally.
Yeah. How did you switch, I guess, your environment from being taken advantage of to it's kind of your superpower and what you kind of lead from now?
That's a great question. It's been a really slow, long process. And I think one of the things that's been tricky for me is like growing up with a chaotic home life through middle school and high school and like through all my teenage years. It was, I don't know, I just had a lot of empathy for people that were struggling, right? And I always had a lot of like patience for people that were struggling just because like how much my brother was struggling. And so it was a slow process of realizing that I'm just enabling people to continue being assholes if I just am too empathetic. Like just because like you have some unfortunate situation that happened to you, it doesn't mean I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I have to be the punching bag.
Just setting new standards.
Yeah, setting new standards. And yeah, I think, you know, you learn the most from things that don't go well or challenges or obstacles.
Yeah.
And I've had quite a few challenges and that space over the years to the point where I was able to, quicker than some, figure out that I need boundaries.
Yeah, I feel like
these are good for me.
I feel like also it has to get so bad to change. Like you're gonna only stay in your apartment and like really just live in it until it gets extremely bad, or that relationship until something really bad happens that you have to move on. You know, there's that middle part of where like, oh, it'll be good, it's fine, but then it gets so bad that you're like, oh yeah, we got to change something. You feel that?
Yeah, totally.
In terms of longboards, bro, did you watch Disney Channel growing up?
I did, of course.
So what was it? Back on Board? Did you watch that movie?
Oh, I never did, man.
So I got.
Are we the same age?
I think you're a couple years older than me. I'm 28.
Okay, I'm 30.
Yeah,
so about the same.
About the same.
I don't remember that. Back on Board.
So there was this one movie that got me into longboarding, and I'm not like a dancer on boards with you or tricks. I can't do handstands.
You're just vibing. I got you.
Like
yeah.
I'll go on a boardwalk and I take my penny board out and it'll be fun.
Nice.
But there was this movie. There was this guy who lived in this snow sports community. Like he would do snowboarding and tricks, and he moved into this like deserty area. And what's the type of boarding that you put these big wheels on? What's that called? It's like on mountain terrain.
It could be like mountain boarding.
Okay, mountain boarding.
Yeah.
And I just got hooked on this movie, and then I started following pages like yours and a couple others because I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I guess how did you get into longboarding specifically, and I guess longboard dancing, because that's the coolest thing that I'm a big fan of.
Okay, that's awesome, man. You know, for me, my journey to longboarding, it actually starts back when I was like 5 years old.
5 years old. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't have a longboard at that time.
Okay.
But what I had is I had a cousin that was a couple years older than me. They bet me $50 I could not beat his high score on Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Okay.
And being a 5-year-old,
$50 is a lot of money too.
$50 is a lot of
$50 is a lot of money.
I don't even think he had $50, honestly. I think he was just
So
blowing
you never got $50?
No, I never beat his high score. But he came and he visited, and I'd see him a couple days a year. Cool older cousin. And yeah, he brought Tony Hawk with him, and then like we're playing it, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, Mom, please, gotta get this video game. It's so cool.
Is this the video game where you do like an ollie or like a rail and it turns a different color type of deal, and you like conquered it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the features.
Okay.
So I got super into that. I was like, man, skateboarding's the coolest thing ever. And it just like, I guess what was cool about it is like the whole game, it's a playground. With skateboarding, it's like the board is your paintbrush and the entire world is your canvas to do whatever you want with it. And so from the age of like 5, I was like so hyped on skating, got Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And then when I was like 9, I begged my parents to get a skateboard. My dad convinced me and my younger brother that he was a professional skater at one time.
How did he do that?
Well, we have our house, and there's like a little path coming out the front of the house to the street, and then there's a sidewalk. And he stepped on the skateboard, he went down, he turned down the sidewalk, turned out the driveway, and went onto the street. And I couldn't do it. And he's like, yep, there we go. First try. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, me and your mom were pro skaters. And for like a second, I was like, what, really? And then after about 20 minutes, I learned how to do that and realized they weren't pro skaters.
Okay. And did you enjoy that process of like learning how to just go outside onto the road?
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't fall in love with it at that time.
Okay.
I was like doing all sports, like football, basketball, soccer. It was just felt like some cool, rambunctious, fun thing. Like, me and my friends got like skate shoes, and like we had like spray paint, and we were like, it was kind of like the counterculture type thing.
Were like Vans the kind of skate shoe at the time, or?
I feel like I always just had like some hokey shit from like Ross Dress for Less.
Yeah, I love that. My mom was about that.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't have Vans. I had whatever the
flat
Airwalk
shoe was at the time.
Yeah. Whatever the cheap one was, the $14 one at the spot. But so that was cool, and it was like, okay, sweet. And really the turning point for me with longboarding is that when I was 14, I was in science class talking with a buddy. I was like, oh man, what do I get for my birthday? And he was just like, hey, you should get a longboard. And I was like, what's a longboard? And he was like, well, it's like a skateboard, but longer, and you bomb hills. Yeah. And I had no idea what it meant to bomb a hill.
Can you explain what bombing hills are?
Yeah, bombing hills means you fly down them, stand on your board, and haul ass down them. So it's like all about speed and rush. But I didn't know that. I just heard bomb hills. And this was at a time where I was actually more into video than skateboarding, and I was replicating a lot of Jackass videos. So we were blowing shit up. We were rolling each other down hills in trash cans.
Sick.
We're throwing apples across the neighborhood. Like, I don't know, just dumb stuff. And so when I heard, okay, it's like skateboarding, bomb hills, I was like, this is my next prop for our next Jackass stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So that's basically what got me started with it.
What got you into filming all of it? Because your video quality and the way you portray your, I guess, like art of longboarding is very cinematic too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, it's so funny hearing that because like I've made a gazillion TikToks and like I have all the nice camera stuff too. I got hired for cool gigs. But it's like most of the stuff that most people see is like stuff I shot on an iPhone. And almost like a lot of people are like, man, it's so like cinematic. It's so like, it's so cool how you dynamic, how you put it in.
Yeah.
And there are dynamic moves, but for me in my head, I like was preventing myself from creating more because kind of around 2014, 15, 16, I was like, ooh, everything has to be like the nice camera. I got the nice camera now. Like, ooh, we guys got to be out. Like, and it really limited me creatively. And so when I started using my phone more and the phone became more capable, I was like, oh, it's not cinematic. It's just like goofy TikTok shit, you know? But it's cool to hear that reflection from you.
Well, I feel like the talent of recording skateboarding, you have to be a good skateboarder yourself because no one thinks
helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Because I'm like, you can't really pay attention to the terrain as much when you're looking at the camera too. Like, what's the process of recording someone skateboarding?
Yeah, I love filming skateboarding maybe more than I love skateboarding. It's like skateboarding plus.
Yeah,
it's like skateboarding and I'm...
Yeah, how do you navigate that? I guess filming someone skateboarding.
It's all about variety, you know? So like to tell a complete story, you need to have variety. If every shot's a wide angle close up, it's like there's no tension, there's no like you don't see the full picture, you don't get the full picture. So I always think about it like, okay, cool. What are the capabilities of this person? Are they going to do big tricks? Are they going to do this? Do they have more style? And then at least when shooting with the phone, it's like, okay, cool. I want to communicate this trick as big as possible or with as much energy or motion as possible. So I'll go wide and I'm going to like fly by them in some dynamic way.
Do you plan shots out?
Yeah. Totally.
So what's that process like let's start from scratch. Like what's a cool trick that you've done before that you've captured? Like where do you start?
Good dynamic move. Yeah, there's so many tricks.
Sure.
You know, and it gets pretty technical with the names. We could go with kickflip. It's just like everyone knows kickflip.
Everyone knows a kickflip.
Everyone knows kickflip. For me, I try to always think about like, okay, what makes this environment unique right here today, right now? Like, is it the palm trees that are back in the distance? Like, imagine we're at the Santa Monica Beach parking lot.
Okay.
It's a home base for me.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time there. Actually, in the parking lot, it's not very aesthetic. It's just a gray parking lot.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? But it's like it has these really beautiful palm trees in the distance that are a ways back. So if I'm like trying to communicate and like show like the entirety of the scene, I'd like maybe shoot like a 5x lens, super tight, frame up the palm trees and have the person do a kickflip. If I'm trying to communicate and like show that the kickflip's like badass or like cooler, faster, I'll maybe like wrap around them as they go to do the trick, maybe slow motion, maybe I'm coming from underneath. Just like whatever I can do as a filmmaker to elevate and like supplement and make whatever they're doing even better. It's one thing to just like, okay, cool, we're documenting what's happening.
Sure.
It's another thing to be like, okay, cool, that's happening. Would this benefit from like a really beautiful scene? Would this benefit from like maybe a 1x lens where it looks a little more natural? Would it benefit from like the extra like speed or immersiveness from a wide lens? So it's just taking whatever is happening and like, how can I elevate it?
How did you do that with, I guess, TikTok in the beginning? Because in 2020, was it 2020 when you started posting the tricks on Tuesdays?
Yep.
Yeah. So that first video took off really well, right?
Totally.
So what trick was that?
That first trick was actually a kickflip.
Okay, it was a kickflip.
It was a kickflip, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and at that time, you know, I had been using TikTok through 2019, so it wasn't like brand new for me. I think at the time, maybe I had 100,000 followers or 50,000, something like that. So it was growing for me. And yeah, I just like was like, I don't know, COVID, moved back in with my dad. all the travel plans I had were canceled.
Yeah.
All the events were canceled. And I was like, well, what's one thing I can commit to on my skate journey that is going to be helpful for people and something that I'll enjoy doing? And so it was like, okay, maybe not going to create these long YouTube videos, but I can commit to like a 15-second tutorial every week.
What makes people pay attention to your videos versus any other skater out there?
I think one of the things that I learned with TikTok was that you want people to finish the video and want more. You know, so like trimming off the last half a second of a video, trimming off the first half a second, whatever you can do to get people to watch a longer percentage of your video on average. And if that means like you trim your video so it's really tight and punchy and it's like 7 seconds, much better than having it be 10 seconds, but people leave at the 8-second mark. Because if you can get people to make it to the end and be like, oh, what was that last trick? Or, oh, what was that? Or like, it's just such a catchy song. It like, if they make it to, let's say, 7 seconds and it loops back around, they might watch the whole thing again or half the thing again. So their total watch time ends up being like 10, 11, 12, 13 seconds.
Of that 7-second video.
Of that 7-second video. Whereas if you had the exact same thing, but you leave an extra second at the end, and instead of like having the little bit of curiosity at second 7, they willingly close out of it at second 8 before it ends at second 9 or whatever.
What leaves them with that curiosity though? Because you taught them the whole trick in that 7 seconds already.
Right. Well, so the tutorials are easy because like you have to watch it a bunch of times.
You have to.
You have to.
To learn it, right?
Totally.
Okay. Tutorials. Or you have to watch it multiple times to learn it. Okay.
Totally. So the tutorial is a little bit different than just like
a regular video.
Okay. But so I was talking more like regular videos. But
okay.
The beauty of the tutorials is like if you break it into steps and the steps are really quick, it's like they have to watch the whole video over to go back through the steps. If the video is a minute-long video, they're going to be bummed. You know, especially when Instagram, you couldn't scrub. Now you can like scrub through the video.
Because it takes forever. You're kind of annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. If it gets to the end and you're like, the thing I really want to like look at again is like at the end, and I'm not going to watch the whole thing.
Do you think that's beneficial to be able to scrub and skip a ton of parts?
I think I like it as an experience better.
Yeah.
I like to be able to scrub through it, or I don't want to have to watch the whole video again if I don't want to watch the whole video again.
Yeah.
My point is like with the tutorials being 15 seconds long, it was manageable enough to where like even if people just wanted to see step number 2 out of 4, it was like they were still kind of getting value, and the cuts were coming so quick that it was like, okay, they're still like kind of learning. It's not like 40 seconds of it is like filler and stuff they don't care about, you know.
What inspired you to go like all in on longboarding? Like that's the thing that you want to be known for and build communities around. And I guess we'll talk about your bus here in a bit and all the things you've been doing for events and stuff. But like, why all in on longboarding?
Yeah, you know, it's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Okay.
I think the one thing that I'm learning more now that I didn't really have awareness over at the time during the time, like through my high school years and through the past 10 years, was that it really came to me at a time where I was like shy, scared, not very confident in myself, and didn't really have much autonomy. You know, I got my first longboard when I was 14. And when you're 14, like your friends are asking you to hang out, and like, you know, some of them live across town, and so you're kind of dependent on your family, like, hey, can you drive me? Or like, oh, whatever. Yeah. And so you still feel like a kid, but you're like, want to be an adult.
It's like the early version of being able to drive.
Right, right, exactly. And I had a bike, and I was biking like a lot from ages 5 to 12. But the thing is, I got a hand-me-down bike, and so like, you know, the bike was made for like a 7 or 8 year old. So by the time I became 12, it was a mini bike, and all my friends were making fun of me, and we didn't have enough money to get a new one. Yeah. So I just didn't have wheels anymore. And so when I got the longboard, it was just, oh, I can also get around town on this. And it was my excuse to distance myself from my chaotic home situation. Sure. You know, and so through that, I just like felt this bond, and just early on started hanging out with guys that were a bit older than me. Pushed me to do a lot of like stupid, crazy things, honestly. Yeah.
But I feel like hanging out with older people, you gain the experience that they had or the mistakes that they made. And you're like, okay, I'm going to copy this or not do it at all because I see what that path led them to.
Totally. Yeah. And for me, it was like being around these guys, And being younger than them, not as good as them, but okay, a little bit below. They're like, wow, you're 2 years younger than us. You're so good at this. It took us so long. You're so good at this. And so in the grand scheme of things, I wasn't that good.
Yeah.
You know, I just like was a little better than they were when they were 15 or 14. But having like that positive feedback was so encouraging to be like, oh, really? I'm good at something. Oh, I'm like
good.
a natural. Like, oh wow, like I did learn how to slide my first week skating. And yeah, it's just motivating, and it's so cool to have had that experience and have had like those group of guys that
How did you find that community in Oregon?
Yeah, basically I have this park. It's like 2 blocks from my parents' house. It's this big soapbox derby hill, beautiful.
Yeah.
Couple blocks long, nice mellow hill. The Boy Scouts like race the little cars on it normally.
Okay.
Once or twice a year. But it's like no cars, grassy field, trees, just beautiful epic park. And I went there. My birthday is March 16th, so right around spring break. Spring break in Oregon.
Pisces.
Yeah. So spring break in Oregon, most of the time is like rainy and about 60 degrees. You know, you might get a dry day or two.
Yeah.
But this spring break was the incredible catalyst for me getting more into longboarding, because it's like I got this board at the start of spring break. It was the most beautiful 75 and sunny spring break I'd ever experienced in my life. And I went to that park with my board, not knowing what to expect. And over the course of that week, I met like 20 different kids that were like on the football team or on the soccer team, or like older high school kids that all had longboards. And for me, it like came out of nowhere. Some kid mentions, oh, get a longboard. I was like, okay, sounds cool, whatever. We're going to bomb hills. And then I go to the park and I'm like, oh my God, when did everyone start longboarding?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
And then it was like, within those first couple of days, it's like, oh, there's this race in like 2 weeks. I'm like, what? There's a race?
So it was big in Oregon at the time.
It was. I would say, it was probably the biggest around like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
The end of my high school journey. But yeah, kind of came out of nowhere, man. I like had no idea what longboarding was. And then all of a sudden it's like, I felt like everyone on the football team had a board.
What was the first bombing hill experience? Because looking at it objectively, it looks super scary, dude.
Right.
Like you're starting
Right.
at the top of this mountain, and how fast would you end up going?
Well, I mean, on this little baby hill is like 20 miles an hour.
I mean, like in general, like for some of the biggest ones that you've done.
Yeah, some of the biggest hills could be like 60, 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, like taking a fall on that type of speed, like I couldn't even imagine, dude.
I know, crazy. As long as you don't hit anything, it's all right.
Okay.
Imagine motorcycles, like, okay, 60, 70 is like, I would way rather fall off a skateboard at 60 or 70 than a motorcycle at 30 or 40. Because I'm not wrestling a refrigerator as I'm falling.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I feel like I might get my arm ripped off with a motorcycle. The board, I can kind of just like ditch it.
Yeah.
And as long as I got like gloves and knee pads, and I'm not like crashing into a tree or a guardrail, it's all right.
Did you fall in love with it after your first bombing experience, I guess?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I just fell in love with it instantly, man. Something about just the rush of like going to that hill and looking at it, and my buddy at the time being like, oh, we should skate down. I'm like, I don't know. We'll skate half of it. We'll start at the bottom and we'll like work our way up. We slowly worked our way up. And it was just that. It was just like, I remember telling my friend, I was like, man, there's no reality where we are able to bomb all the hills in this city in our lifetime. They're just too many of them, too big. It's going to take forever. Because that first year, every hill we did was like, okay, and then like go up a board length, and just like.
So you took micro steps.
Micro steps. It was all just like micro steps. And that was great.
And when did longboard dancing come into effect?
The crazy part is it came into effect almost instantly. But it wasn't the cool thing to do.
Like, I feel like it wasn't popular until a few years ago now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It like, but also simultaneously, it was really popular in like 2007, 8, 9. And another factor here is like, there's a local longboard builder named Longboard Larry.
Okay.
Sounds like the most local dude ever.
Yeah.
Right. But throughout this like time, he was actually building some of the best longboard skateboards in the world. And he had all these like epic like team riders, and there's these two guys, Adam Colton, Adam Sikowski. They were doing like these tutorials. They were just so goofy. It's like they'd wear like a full purple suit, and like the dude had a curly mustache, or like
characters.
One video he'd be like shave half of his beard, or like totally weird, and they'd name the tricks like all these weird goofy names, and they were like
the original tricks, like they came up with them.
Yeah, I think so. Like they're just so goofy and weird that it's like,
There has to be.
Yeah, had to be. And so like a lot of those videos got like, you know, millions of views back to like the early days of YouTube.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of views or whatever. And so having that guy be local, it was like, okay, longboard dancing was like kind of in my ethos a little bit. And I remember getting like some longboard dancer board kind of, and like learning how to just cross step and do like one of the steps. But really where all the excitement was in downhill, because like I started bombing hills, and then it's like, that was at the time where the sport was really progressing a lot, where people were, you know, just riding motorcycle helmet, motorcycle suit, and just like not knowing how to slide or take the corners, but just like hauling ass.
Yeah.
And it's like people started to get more and more sophisticated, being able to pre-drift before corners and then not use their hands and slide.
Yeah.
And so
the sliding part's super cool, because I always thought that was only possible with snow. And you're out here drifting with just a board, which is crazy.
Very similar to snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's harder.
Well, it definitely hurts more when you hit the ground. Definitely hurts more when you hit the ground. I don't know. Is it harder?
Are you a good snowboarder as well?
I'm an all right snowboarder.
Okay.
This was my first year getting the Icon Pass. I was kind of like a 1 day a year kind of guy before then.
Yeah. Icon Pass is kind of cool. I went to UCLA.
Okay.
And there was like a snow club or snow sports club. And Icon Pass was only like $150 as like a college student or a student.
150?
Yeah.
Well,
like
that's insane,
150,
dude.
$200, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so like it was a deal. Like we had to get it.
Right.
And just being able to go so many times at that rate was like so cool, you know, and you'd get a cabin with like 30 people.
Oh, it's
And
such a vibe, dude. So fun.
yeah, looking back at it, or I guess like now I wouldn't want to do it. Like I kind of love the comfortability of like maybe like 2 people in a room or something like that.
I mean, I'm the same way, bro. I prefer like, people view me as like this like extreme extrovert because of how many events I'm putting together. And when people see me,
Yeah.
I'm like hyping people up and I'm stoked and I'm like, just like bringing the energy. But it's like, I really prefer to spend my time with a handful of people that I really
and really
care
get
about.
to know them pretty well.
Yeah, and really get to know them and just have like more intimate conversations. Like it's just
Yeah.
more stimulating for me.
Because events and stuff, there's a certain barrier to, you can't connect with everyone like that.
Totally.
I love events all around LA. I feel like they're really good to introduce and like gain a new skill or meet a new friend if you don't have that many. But once you have your group, I feel like you really want to like invest into those relationships and friendships much more, because I feel like they're more fulfilling.
Totally.
Yeah. In terms of if people want to learn how to longboard, you know, where should they start?
Depends on where they live.
Yeah.
If they live in Los Angeles, just go down to Venice Beach and ride around and you'll meet people and you'll figure it out. YouTube's a great place.
Yeah.
You know, they can hit me up.
Yeah.
I got a lot of good videos or blog articles.
Why choose longboarding over, there's so many other hobbies to get good at?
I think it's at a really interesting intersection where it's transportation. Like basketball's not transportation. There's a little bit of fear, right? So it's kind of got like this edgy, like, am I going to hurt myself? Ooh. Or am I going to jump on this thing and look stupid? Or are people going to think I'm like too old or too uncoordinated? Like there's like all these like fear and judgment people place on themselves. But the cool part is when you can break through that fear and you like conquer it and you're like riding the board, it's just like ultimate freedom. And it's like something that people can feel really proud of and accomplished of, and something that can like build their self-confidence. And it's like kind of sexy, you know? It's like Tony Hawk's cool. Like, like girls riding down the boardwalk. Like it just feels so, it's just so free. And like, I think even if you don't skate and you don't know exactly what that feeling feels like, you can like imagine like the feeling of freedom.
I like your analogy of the world is your canvas and your board is your brush. Like you could literally create anything, anytime, anywhere.
Totally.
You know, like, because there's a lot of hobbies or sports that require a certain place to be at, like a gym for jujitsu, or not even jujitsu, you can kind of do somewhere else, but like just say a regular gym, you need to go to a weight set, you need to go to a soccer field or a basketball court. Like this is, you could go anywhere, anytime.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of building the community aspect, or I guess like transferring to Los Angeles, like what inspired that move? Because that's a big move from Oregon. For me, I organically got here because I went to school and I just ended up loving it here. But by just making a decision to go on your own into this new world in space? Like, what inspired that?
There's a few factors that led into that. You know, the couple years leading up to 2020, I was traveling most of the year.
Yeah, for sport, for
longboarding. Yeah, I was like, I'd go to Europe for 3 months every summer. I'd like go to California for a couple months, or I'd like go to different places, go on these long extended road trips. I had my van, a ghetto like town and country Chrysler, like mom minivan type shit.
Sick.
That I would like put a mattress in the back of, and I just kind of like jump around to different skate events. And so I kind of lived nowhere. I felt like I didn't really live anywhere. My dad was
very nomadic.
Right, very nomadic, right? So then moved back to Oregon, and COVID happened, and it was like, all right, okay. Portland kind of turned to Gotham City a little bit. There's like a lot of like, just like, you didn't see it in your day to day until COVID, but there's like a pretty big, like racist KKK group of people that are like kind of hiding in the shadows. And so when that whole like George Floyd thing happened, like all these like Nazi people kind of came out, and then there's like anti-Nazi Nazis, and it was just like a really emotionally charged.
Wow.
Yeah. It didn't get as bad. I think like maybe Seattle was worse. They had this like Chaz zone. You heard about that? Like the Chapel Hill Autonomous Zone or whatever it was called.
Well, it kind of got bad. Were you out here in LA when there was like tanks going down Ocean Avenue in Venice and Santa Monica area?
I don't know about that. No, I think I came in like June.
Okay.
Were there tanks in June 2020?
It was a few months before that.
Yeah.
There was like military grade tanks on Ocean Avenue right across the street from like the pier, and there was a ton of riots, and that whole Santa Monica area. I was working at a bar at a time on, you know, the mall that's right across the street?
Yeah.
So like all these restaurants were getting rioted, and like the REI there, everything got taken out. The Nike store, everything got taken out. And it was crazy because there was like mom and pop like restaurants over there that had like just their family members with rifles outside.
Whoa.
Because they were like, this is our everything. You know,
it was similar. It was similar in Portland.
I was like, "What's going on?" I locked myself in my apartment, bro, and everyone else like left. Yeah. There's so many people left.
Yeah, I had like kind of a similar but different experience where I was like in Portland and like was finishing up my degree during this time. I went to Portland State University, and it was like, one of the last couple weeks of school. I was just hanging out rollerblading with some friends. It's on this tennis court, like right on campus.
Yeah,
and it had this like weird thing where it's kind of like fenced in because there's a big hill, and so it was kind of cut into the hill. So there's a fence like kind of blocking us in, and we're hanging out, and we're like taking our rollerblades off and just like chatting, and some guy comes up, sketchy guy, and is like, "Man, you guys need any drugs?" We're like, "Nah, dude, we're cool." He's like, "Okay, well, you guys got any money?" I was like, "Oh man, like, nah, dude, like we're just broke. We don't got shit." So. And at this time, I'm like just starting to like freak out. Like my heart is like, but I'm around 3 or 4 friends. So I'm like, okay, this guy's acting weird. Like I'm like starting to give my friends the eye. I'm like, watch this guy. Cause then he started asking, he's like, okay, well, show me you have no money. Bring out your wallet. Show me. And I was like, okay, man. Well, I pulled out my wallet. And I'm
pulled out your wallet?
Yeah. I mean, what's the guy going to do? Bro, he's like wrestling in his jacket, and he's like starting to get all like super nervous and tweaky. Which was so scary.
No,
and
for sure.
And I was like looking at my buddy, because my buddy's kind of like next to him, behind him a little bit. I'm like you're gonna have to like hit this guy, bro. Like please. And so I'm like trying to give him the eyes, and I'm like looking over, and my backpack's here with my laptop and all my shit. And I was like, my rollerblades like half off, so they're all loose on my feet. And I'm like, okay,
you're not ready.
I can't fight this guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I go for my backpack, what is he gonna do? Okay. So what ended up happening was. This part's like just a little bit of a blur. I can't remember exactly, but basically it went from like me having my wallet to like maybe my friend kind of distracting him for a second or something, and me like going for my bag, like, okay, we're gonna fucking run now. Grabbing my bag, and as I'm grabbing my bag, my friends are running. This guy's like pulling out a gun, pointing at me, and I just booked it. And so I'm like tripping over myself because I'm in the rollerblades, and like the parking lot was like one step above a gravel parking lot. It was like a type of parking lot that's paved, but it's all rocks. And so I'm like, the guy's pointing this gun at me and like telling me to give him all my stuff. And I just like, in that moment was like, we're flighting. we're not fighting right now. I'm not in a fighting position right now. And fortunately, I don't think he pulled the trigger. But I like ate shit in the parking lot so bad. It was like a horror scene. It was like the climax of a scary movie where I'm like running away from the bad guy. I got all my shit. I completely sprawl out into the parking lot. There's like rocks in my knees. I'm like standing up. This guy's like walking towards me with this gun, yelling at me. And fortunately, like we ended up getting away, and me and my buddies like reconvened at the university. That's like literally a block away. Like we're like a block away from his dorm. And it was just such a scary thing. And I was like, man, this place fucking sucks. I was like, man, I'm tired of this. Like, I moved to downtown Portland, like, because I thought it was gonna be cool, and now it's just Gotham City, and like people are robbing me. I was like, this is lame. So I remember calling a buddy in Venice, and I was just like, dude, is it cool down there still? And he's like, well, everything's closed, but people are still like skating and like surfing and playing volleyball.
I got a ticket for surfing.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, when it was out. Like there was
a ticket.
A ticket.
You had to get tickets for surfing?
No. Like it was, you weren't allowed to surf at one point.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
I got 2 tickets, one for working out in a park.
Really?
Yeah. And one for surfing. It was like when you were...
It was like the first like couple months kind of?
Couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, and you're not going to catch COVID surfing, dude.
Dude, totally. It was crazy how some of that stuff worked out, but it was such a blessing because I basically just came down like, okay, extended road trip. I'm just going to load up the car, drove.
Yeah.
And
the van at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little compact SUV at the time. This one was. Went through a couple of shitty vans that exploded on me, and then another one exploded on me, and I was leapfrogging from shitty van to shitty van.
How was like that nomadic lifestyle of like not necessarily having a home base, and like were you living out of these vans sometimes?
Yeah, you know, it was a lot of like staying with friends of friends. So the van, I was like maybe living here a day or two. I wasn't really a van dweller.
Mostly transportation.
It was mostly transportation. Okay. It's like, okay, I'd stay with this friend for like a week or this friend for like 2 weeks. It's mostly like couch surfing.
Yeah.
But I always had the mattress in the back of the van just in case.
What was that experience like? What did you learn from, I guess, just moving around and surfing couches until you like landed here, I guess?
Yeah. You know, I learned that your first interaction with somebody plays a huge part into how long they're cool with you staying at their place. So like I would always make it a habit, like, okay, cool. Oh, you're letting me stay with you. Okay, awesome, amazing. Maybe you're a friend. Maybe you're a friend of a friend. Most of these people are friends of friends. They weren't like friends really. But through the skating community, people were like kind of knew each other, and people maybe heard of me or whatever. And so I'd show up, and it's like, okay, cool. I'd make dinner, you know, and then I'd clean the whole dinner, and then they'd go to work maybe, and it's like when they go to work, I'm like, I just sweep up the place real quick, like just tidy some shit, even if it's like there's some wrappers, whatever, just tidy it up. And then like they'd come home and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're amazing! Like you can stay here forever."
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had a lot of good experience there, and it was really like as long as you just crush it the first day and you know you're kind and respectful. Like I had really good success with like being able to stay with people for free. You know?
That's a skill, dude. Because there's a lot of people are like, get out right away.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely overstayed my welcome a few times. Yeah. Where it's like, so when are you leaving? And I'm like, you know, like soon, like tomorrow, like maybe. And I'm like texting people like, where do I go now?
Yeah.
You know?
What was the game plan when you hit LA?
The game plan when I hit LA was honestly to come down here and have fun and just do like a road trip. I was doing road trips down to Los Angeles.
So you weren't planning to stay here for a long period of time?
No, not at all. I mean, I packed for like, you know, a week or two, which it kind of like works for infinity. Yeah. You know, and I had my boards, I had my camera gear. So I was like, okay, like I could stay, but it wasn't really something I was even, it didn't really cross my mind. I was just like, okay, I'll take this road trip. I'll drive around for a couple weeks and then I'll come back. And I ended up meeting this girl that was like, oh, we should shoot like a video together. And we ended up shooting like a video teaching her how to downhill skate. And then she basically was couch surfing at a friend of hers place. And she's like, well, you can just couch surf my couch surf and just stay with me for a little bit. And then a couple days turned into a couple months, turned into like, I think 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, I had no expectations of staying, but just came into a cool situation at the right time with a cool person, and yeah, it just worked out.
And when did the Beyond the Board start? When did that movement, I guess, like this whole theme of setting a movement and like your speaking gigs and all that stuff, like when did that happen?
Yeah, Beyond the Board happened in 2021.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, Beyond the Board is my nonprofit. We, for the first couple of years, we're just hosting these big tours around the country, but really our goal is to just spread more authentic and genuine joy and connection in the world through skateboarding. So build community, build people with confidence. And for me, it was all about like redefining what I want a skate community to look like. I was getting to a point in my career where I was like looking around at some of my peers, and a lot of them were incredible people, some of my best friends, but also some of them were like toxic. And there was like all this like unnecessary competition, or like people like, I don't know, just talking shit, you know, it's like that in any space. I was looking around and I was like, man, I don't really like a lot of the norms for how these things are. I don't really like this like gatekeeping. I don't really like this like, oh, you're not a real skater if you're not a real like all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, coming into 2021, I was like, well, there's definitely a lot of people in Los Angeles that would want to longboard if they had someone to teach them. So I'll just start doing free workshops at the beach. And it started as 5 people, and over the course of 2 or 3 months ended up being 50 plus people every week. Half the people had never been on a board before. And we just got really good at hosting an awesome group workshop
for free
experience for free.
And I guess, how did you get those first 5 people, and then how did you grow it to 50? Because bringing that many people together is a skill as well. Like, that's hard to do.
Yeah. You know, at the time I had pretty popular social media, you know, 100,000 on Instagram, 500,000 on TikTok. And so the first couple people were like fans. And, you know, I had people reaching out to me like, oh, I live in Los Angeles. Like, where's there to skate? Or what's this? Or what's this? Or I had a texting platform called Community. And so the cool part about Community is like, I had 3,000 people across the country that like, to be able to text me, they had to like send me like their name and like city they were from and like, you know, just some basic information. But then I knew, I was like, okay, there's like 400 people that live within 60 miles of Los Angeles that have texted me asking about longboarding questions or longboarding
awesome.
advice. And so I was like looking at that and I was like, man, there's so many people that live here. I don't know where they are. I don't see them. I'm on the beach skating with my 5 friends. But I was like, I bet if I start doing this and put out a couple text blasts, like people will start coming. And I think what really made it popular is that we weren't just showing the most talented people. We were really capturing the vibe of what was going on. And so like when we made videos, it was like showing the whole scene, and it was showing specifically like, okay, cool. There's this one person that's like in the beginning of the video, they're like, I've never done this before. And then it's like cuss something else. And then like they're on their board and they're like trying it, and you see them like step off. And then like, you know, a couple more cuts, and then it goes back to this person that like lands this little move, super basic, like 180 step, or just little basic move where they're jumping on the board.
Yeah.
And they're just like so stoked. They're like, yeah, I did it. And I'd always get the shot of them like so hyped, and I'd hype them up. I'm like, yeah, you got this. And so the video, like they're feeding off that energy.
Yeah.
I'd go for the high five, like, psh. And so that was like a really common clip I'd always get. And the thing is, like, you might see a skate group online, or you might see any sort of community online, but if you can't imagine yourself being the person that goes, and you don't like see someone that either looks like you or like physically or in just the way you move or your experience level, it's so much more intimidating to go. And so what we were doing is we were showcasing so many people having the time of their life as brand new skaters. And it was different because there were some other skate communities around that I was
very
a part
relatable.
of. Yeah, it's very relatable. And you know, it's like we just like thought about the whole thing as a funnel, right? Which sounds all like businessy and jargony and shit.
No, yeah.
But it's like, it really is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. There's at the bottom of this, there's people that come to our events or our meetups or whatever, or are part of our community. At the top of it, it's top of the funnel. Like how many people saw the post on Instagram talking about the event, or how many people are aware of it?
Millions
Thousands,
for
right?
your TikToks.
Right. So then it's like, okay, cool. How many of those people are even
in the area?
Right?
Way less.
Way less. Like,
way less.
Way less. And then it's like, okay, cool. And what percentage of those people that are in the area see it and feel like it's something they might want to do? Okay, it's even less people. And then how many people that you know, are interested in going, maybe could see themselves doing it, that live in the area, how many people go?
Yeah.
Right? And then once you get how many people that go, how many people come back a second time? Right? And so what we were really focusing on is, okay, cool. How can we, for the people that live in Los Angeles, that might be seeing this, how can we maximize the amount of people that see this and go like, oh, I can see myself doing that. That looks like fun. That looks like something I could do. So how do we maximize that? And then how do we maximize the experience in a way where people are hyped to come back again? And in doing that, we grew from 5 people to 10 to 20 to 25 to 30. And we just had like incredible word of mouth. In the beginning, it was all...
Which is the best form of marketing.
Dude, it's the best. It's so underrated. I see so many communities now like focusing so much on their Instagram and not on their actual experience. And if they are focusing on Instagram, they're focusing on just like, oh, cool highlight reel. Look what we did. It's like, is that going to make the person that might come to your thing actually come to your thing? Maybe
Not as good as someone who, for example, the movie Sinners. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to go see it this weekend. Okay. I haven't had that many clients, so I'm a personal trainer, had that many clients tell me to go watch this movie, or people in general.
Right, they thought you were a sinner?
Maybe.
They're like, bro, you gotta see this, dude. I think
it will relate.
Did you sign a release on this? Because
yeah, but like it's word of mouth. I don't even know too much about the movie, but the amount of people who say this experience is so dope, you want to be a part of it, you want to experience it, you want to watch that film, be a part of that longboard group or whatever, because the people there have so much good things to say about it.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the characteristics, you said that you weren't a fan of these events of the traditional XYZ type of event that you were being a part of. What characteristics of your events that you visioned that are different and make people want to come back over and over again?
It's the focus on connection. It's the focus on connection. It's like when people have other touch points. Like it's one thing to go to one thing, right? We've all been to something where it's like, okay, we go to an event, okay, cool. And then we might meet some people, whatever, cool. And then we're like, leave. We're not really connected to the thing. But it's like if you go somewhere and you meet one really cool person, or you meet 2 or 3 cool people, you exchange phone numbers, you have a cool conversation, it's like your chances of going a second time and feeling more a part of the experience are so much higher. And so what we've always done from the beginning, and this has evolved in a lot of different ways, we always start with an opening circle. We always end with a closing circle.
What is an opening and closing circle?
Yeah, for us, it's a few different parts. It's designed so that people are calibrated to have the best experience possible. So like one thing typical with a lot of these skate gatherings, for example, is like, okay, there's a start time and an end time, but that doesn't mean anything, man. People just show up and they randomly like trickle into the spot, and it's like, there's no maybe defined leader. So for like people that are coming in new, they like show up to a spot and they're like looking around and they're like, I don't know any of these people. These people all look good. It's like, they don't really know what to expect. They don't really like, should I show up right when it starts? Is it like, am I going to miss anything? Should I show up halfway? If I show up halfway, am I like missing something? Or am I like coming in at a weird time? Like they just don't know. And so people like in these other skate groups I was a part of, we would, meet in this parking lot, and like, I would see every single week 2 or 3 people that obviously were there for what we were doing, but they would stand on the edge of the parking lot because nobody came to greet them. There was no like central gathering place. There was no like expectations around what was happening or who to talk to for questions or anything. So
they don't feel included because of that.
They don't feel included, and it's like, okay, part of that's like kind of on them. It's like, whoa, you gotta, get out of your comfort zone and meet people. But it's like, why put all that pressure on the participant? If you're the organizer, it's like your responsibility to smooth out that transition. So when people do come, they're greeted with kindness. And one of the things that we've done from the beginning is like people come in, as people come, especially new people, it's like introduce ourselves. Doesn't have to be long. It can be really quick, but it's like, oh, cool. Where are you from? Oh, cool. Oh, you're from Colorado? Yo, you got to meet Tiffany. She's also from Colorado. Let me introduce you.
Yeah.
And just like starting those connections soon, because if you don't do that, what ends up happening is everyone's like kind of skating and hanging out, and you get a couple people over here that are just chilling on the edge of the parking lot, a couple people over here, and after 30 minutes, they end up just leaving because they feel uncomfortable and weird. Right? And so
they just go.
They just go. And that's what was happening. I was seeing this like every week in this other group, And I was like, yo, there's like, if we're talking about funnel, it's like, yo, there's a bunch of people that are coming and then they're just leaving and they're never coming again. So why are we even using social media? Why are we even telling people to come? Why are we even telling people everyone's included? If when they show up, they just leave. And so like having this opening circle and being like, hey, my name is Brandon. You are at Vibe Ride. Vibe Ride is a community of skateboarders in Los Angeles trying to spread more joy and connection through skating. Here's what we're doing today. Here's the leaders. Here's our volunteer team members. If you have any questions, hit us up. Then we do like some sort of icebreaker. Might be like an activity, might be a question, changes on the week. And then it's like, cool, here's what to expect. We're riding to Venice. It's going to be 4 miles there and back. We're going to make a stop here, a stop here. The music's going to be like this. Boom, boom. It's going to be an activity.
They know everything that's going on.
Yeah. And it's like when people have an expectation, they can like settle into the experience so much better. Because what happens is people disconnect really soon if they feel like they're being aimlessly led anywhere. Like if you show up to an event, how many times have you showed up to an event and it's like you show up and it's like, okay, we're here, but it's like, what's going on and when and like, is this, why am I still here?
Yeah.
Or like whatever. It's like you just don't
Definitely
know.
a couple times, but I feel like the events that we go to are pretty well organized now.
The bar has increased a lot.
Yeah.
From me hosting my first little skate meetups or skate events in 2012 or 2011, whatever it was, compared to like the thoughtfulness and attention to detail now, it's on a whole nother level, man.
How do you get people to rally behind you? Because like you said, you had volunteers and you have all these, the goal is to bring all these people together, but there is the business side behind it. There is people who you need to help you organize these events, and you can't do it all by yourself. And these few people who are, I don't even call them leaders or coaches or whatever, to help you teach these 50 people, or just say this one time, a skill is you have to have this same mission that they are in love with as well.
I think, you just have to make sure people are intrinsically motivated. Everyone wants to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. Most people are too afraid to take the initiative to create their own thing, which is fine. So giving people the opportunity to be a part of something they believe in, like we're very clear and very explicit about what our mission is, what our vision is, what our values are. It's something that like we lead every opening with a short story that like validates that and like reinforces that. And it's like when a leader has conviction and is a good role model and has a message that you can rally behind and it's consistent, it's like, people feel like so much more connected to it. It feels like way more official. You know, it's not just like, oh, like there's so many communities I've been part of. It's like, oh, cool, we go. And like, it's a nice group of people. It's nice. Yeah. And it's like, cool. But it's like, the reason why people are like diehard fans for what we do is because I'm like, I want the world to be a more joyous and connected place. Looking at my phone all day fucking sucks. Okay. And like, there's so many people that look at their phone all day. What's average screen time now? Like 8 hours, bro? It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah. And they look at their phone.
Sometimes I look at mine, I'm just like, wow, I spent 8 hours on my phone today.
Right, dude. It's an echo chamber too. So it's either it's going to show you stuff that you love and stuff that you hate. And then cat memes. Okay. They waste your time.
We love cat memes.
Right? so it's like love and hate, and then it's like random brain rot stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, when you live your life like that, like you have such a jaded, small
perception of the
world. And it's like, I just seen that manifest in so many like toxic ways where I see people like doing horribly unkind or irrational things or saying irrational, unkind things about other people because they have their own poison they're dealing with that's inside of them, inner demons, right? And so like, I want to create the world that I want to live in, and I'm actively doing that. Yeah. And if you want to be a part of this, like, let's do that together. And I want to live in a world that's more joyous, more connected. I want to live in a world where people are happy, where people are excited to express themselves, where they feel like there's less barriers to express themselves, where people feel purposeful, where people feel like their friends and neighbors and acquaintances like have their back. And like, I just reiterate those things often enough that people, I think, get really excited, and some people rally behind those same things. Yeah. And love to rally behind those same things.
You said that a lot of people have a difficult time like starting their own thing. Yeah. And having the courage to, I guess, like build the life that you want if that is like a job or a community. A lot of people don't know where to start because they're just like, I'm stuck in this job that provides me a living. They're stuck in this relationship because it's just good enough and it provides me everything that I need. What would you tell those people? Because like I'm in the same space you are right now, where like I do what I love. Like I help people get fit. I talk to cool people on this podcast. Like I've curated this space where it's like I do what I want to do all the time, and a lot of people don't get that, you know. And how would you inspire people to have the courage to curate the life that they want?
It's a great point. I think the only thing that's ever prevented somebody is fear. Like, I can't think of another emotion. I'm open to your thoughts, but like, why would somebody not start something? Like, why would somebody not put more time into something that they believe in or that they are interested in or they're curious about?
It's always fear. You're right.
It's like always some version of fear. And so one thing that's helped me live a much more fearless life, when I look back at all the stories and all the like wild things that have happened, it's always 4 elements, which I call the 4 C's. So the first one is like clarity. Clarity is all about like getting clear on like, what is my intention? What are my values? What do I want right now? Where is this going? Like just getting as clear as possible. This can come from journaling. I used to journal every day. Can come from meditating, but just clarity. So clarity and then calculation. You need to know what's the best thing that can happen, what's realistically the worst thing that can happen, which is normally not that bad. And,
in the Western world, at least.
Right. And then it's like, what are all the pieces that go into that? And just calculating. So you have a better understanding of like, okay, clarity is internal, calculations like observing the external world and forces and dynamics of like this new journey or job or thing or whatever. You need to have calmness because shit's going to be unpredictable. You know, the only constant is change.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to have like some calmness, and you just got to have courage. Once you have all those elements, it's like you just got to fucking do it. And for me, one thing that's always motivated me so much, it's like not a specific vision of the future. Like I don't feel like I do a great job of like, I'm sitting in my house and there's this art and I'm on the beach, and it's like, I'm not like that. I'm more just like, okay, cool. Wouldn't it be cool if we bought a bus and drove around the country? Wouldn't it be cool if we showed up to cities and people were like running after the bus and like having this amazing time? What if we met some random person in some random city in middle America that's never skated before, and we showed them some kindness and got them on a board and shared a really powerful moment that potentially changed the course of their life? You know, sometimes all it takes is one special moment to completely change the course of someone's life. And it's just like getting really, 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 really excited about whatever that is. I've always just had this like huge dreamer mentality where I'm like, it'd just be so cool. Like when I'm thinking up new events, one of the ones we're planning through right now is like, I want to host the Bikini Bottom Bubble Cruise.
What's that?
So it's going to be a shit ton of people skating through Venice, big group ride, right? There's going to be, everyone's going to have a bubble gun. So it's just going to be crazy. It's going to be 150 people with bubble guns riding through the city. And so it's Bikini Bottom. I don't know, just for whatever reason, I'm like, Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob. We start the ride. Are you ready, kids? Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, I have my buddy, he's got like his electric guitar. We got a little wireless receiver. So as we're going down the boardwalk, it's like we post up at the Venice V and he plays Goofy Goober Rock. Yeah. You know, and like that's a moment. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, I just like get these ideas where I'm like, oh, wouldn't it just be so funny if? Yeah. And it's like,
maybe, so what's the coolest story that we can make?
Yeah, just what's something I genuinely just get so stoked about. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, like Josh, he's gonna be Plankton because he's like this, and like and like my buddy on the guitar, he's gonna be like Patrick Star, but like sexy Patrick. And wouldn't it be funny? Patrick. Yeah, right. Wouldn't it be funny if this or this or this or this? And I just get so excited about these ideas. I'm like, it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up yet. Yeah. And it just allows me to be so fearless because I'm like, let's do it. Yeah. This is amazing. I feel this right now. It's amazing. Just trust me. You're gonna love it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And like having that conviction and that excitement, like people just rally behind that.
I feel like the calmness aspect, what you said of the third of the 4 C's, is a lot of people have a difficult time with that because they could know what they want, and then they could have, okay, it's not that bad, and then something bad happens and they just freak out, and like the change is the thing that's always going to happen. You don't know what to expect.
Right. And the calmness is also like you just got to release yourself into what's going to happen. You can't change everything. Like you can change what you say and what you do. There's a whole outside world out there. Like shit's just going to happen. You can't control everything.
Yeah.
So you can be the most calculated person ever. You can sit there and crunch the numbers and if this. By the time you actually go to do the thing, the whole thing might completely change or fall apart or like some outside force or like whatever. So
yeah. What's your definition of wealth? You talked about it a few times on like some videos.
Yeah. My definition of wealth, wealth or success even for me. I'm like, I just want to be spending the absolute most amount of time possible exploring my curiosities and being creative. And at parts of my life that was all skating or video. And now a big part of that is in curating and facilitating and hosting events. Because like, unlike most of these other mediums where it's really like individualistic, with hosting events, it's like I get the opportunity to work with other people. I get the opportunity to bring in somebody that's maybe an epic DJ, somebody that's like a goofy goober in their own way, and they're like going to help like run a game, or like they're going to help run this or that or whatever. And I just love, especially with our Vibe Ride community, how spontaneous it can be. Like there's a lot of surprise and delight in our community where it's like I've got a pretty good handle on like
how so like during the ride, like how is it spontaneous?
Right. So a good example is a couple days ago we were riding on the boardwalk, doing our whole thing. We do a couple stops along the way so people can catch up and like stop for games or activities. Right as we were getting to roll out, this homeless dude shows up with like this giant piece of seaweed that was like a tube. You ever seen one of those?
Yeah,
like, it's like a thick, like
thick seaweed tube.
Yeah, it's thick seaweed tube. And he runs up and he's like, "Hey man, check this out." And he's like doing it like a didgeridoo, right? And I was like, "What?" And he's like doing it, and I was like, "Okay."
Did it make a sound?
Yeah, it made a sound like
that's
a full on didgeridoo sound. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's the didgeridoo. It's the seaweed didgeridoo. It's the didgeridoo." And he's like playing it, and I'm like putting the mic up. And so everyone's like getting ready to roll out, and then it's like this happens, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, yo, can anyone beatbox? Anyone beatbox? And some other random ass homeless dude, I was expecting someone in our group, but some random ass homeless dude comes running out of his little cardboard shelter and is like beatboxing. So it's these two homeless guys like beatboxing, and we're just like hyping it up. Everyone's like, yeah, go. And it's like, I don't know, just having the flexibility
to just go with the flow.
To go with the flow and like to amplify those moments is so creative.
Because you always remember that ride as those two homeless dudes who was playing the seaweed and beatboxing. Like you can't make that up.
Totally. And there's times too where it's like, okay, I'll be like, we'll be riding. One example is like my buddy John, big fit dude. Maybe you know John Michael.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
He's been on the pod a couple times.
Okay. Cool. I thought I saw his pictures up here. Okay. Cool. So yeah, John Michael, awesome guy. He was just vibing one night. I'm seeing him dancing around and having a good time. And
he can move. That man can move.
He can move, right? All sorts of ways. Upside down, sideways, whatever.
Everywhere.
Right? And so I was like, John, like, do you trust me? Like, can I just like put you on the spot completely? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I was like, okay, cool. You comfortable taking your shirt off?
Of course.
He was like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I come on the mic. I'm like, yo, before we roll out, we got one last song. This is a special request from John Michael. It's his favorite song. And he's had kind of a hard day today. So if we can all like rally around this song for him, it would mean the world to him. Is everyone on board for that? Can we get on board for that? It's like, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I turn on Take It Off by Fisher.
Nice.
And so it's just like whole squad's going crazy. John's in the middle, like rips his shirt off, is doing a handstand, does a backflip on the beat drop, like just so hype.
Yeah.
And it's like I love to orchestrate moments like that. It's like this like surprise and delight that like when I'm creating something, I can set it all up and I can do the thing and it's like whatever. But something like this that involves so many different people, like every single event is so unique because it's never going to be that same group of people in the exact same place at the exact same time. And so like I've just loved and I've fallen in love with being able to like orchestrate and amplify these little moments and be able to like feel the energy of the group and be like, okay, cool. Like this person's like kind of in this mood or this mood, like, ooh, what can we do to like amplify? Okay, do we play a game? Okay, we're gonna do like this little like game or like whatever.
What does it do? What does that event do for the people participating in it? And then what does the event do for you, the one orchestrating it?
I think it gives people more optimism and hope for the world. A lot of people that come into our community, a lot of them are like new to Los Angeles, or they're at a point in their life where they're experiencing some change. Like maybe they moved to a different part of town. Maybe they changed jobs. Maybe they broke off like a serious long-term relationship. They're in a place where they're like open to exploring new things. And yeah, they have an open mind and they're looking for something new. And so I think for those people, it's like being able to discover something like this is like awesome. Like they just get to come and they get to be like their weird self in whatever way that means. And like, I'm like the best hype person ever where I'm like, yo, if you want to do something, like we have people that do fire spinning or like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's cool. How can we do that in a way that like showcases your talent and like makes this something that's like a stage for everyone? Like how can this experience, how can our community be a place that like everyone can benefit from and have their creativity flourish? Like, you know, with the podcast is like, you're creating a stage, you're bringing people on and you're giving people this opportunity to share and be creative and share their voice and their message.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. It's like, I'm creating this environment for people to like come and not only experience it, but also be an active participant if they want to.
And to feel comfortable doing so.
And to feel comfortable doing so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing because there's so many people who have this like light or curiosity inside of them that they never really gets to shine sometimes.
Man, I love pushing people on that. Like one of the things we always start our rides with too is we do a big power clap. And it's our guy, Ozzy, who's just like most hype dude ever. Was in the military. He's just like, it's just so funny, dude. Such a funny hype guy. So he's like, all right, power clap, 3, 2, 1. It's like, psh. Cool moment to get things started. But whenever he's gone, I like just put someone on the spot. I'm like kind of looking around. I'm like, hey, can I just like put you on the spot for this? And most people like, you know, you just suss it out. Like you can't just like pick a random person. Yeah. I'll kind of pick somebody that's like, seems like they could be in the mood and it's like, you got this. Yeah. Like it's gonna be a little scary, but you got this. And then I'll be like, yo, Tiffany, he's gonna do the power clap. What? Yeah, he's gonna do the Mario clap. He's a little scared, guys. But like, can we like rally around this from? And so I'm kind of like seeding that support group for people.
Because a lot of people, since probably like elementary school, haven't really been on a stage. They haven't really had that much attention on them. You know, there are a lot of followers, but there's a little bit inside. You're like, oh, I'm down to lead this power clap. Totally.
And it's fear. It's like, oh my God, my buddy Mario, bless his heart, the other day, he did a great job. But he was like, what? That's not me, dude. That's not me. And I'm like, you got this, dude. And in seeding, like, yo, Mario's gonna do this. And just seeding like an initial support group. As soon as I announced on the mic, like, hey guys, Ozzy's gone, but it's Mario's time to shine. Mario's gonna be leading the power clap. Yeah. He already had 4 or 5 people that are like, yeah, let's go, Mario. And
let's go.
He had no choice but to do it. There was no like, hey, you should do it, Mario, and him just be like, nah, I'm good. He had like a whole support group of people that are just hyping him up, and I love that too, because it's like
healthy peer pressure.
Healthy peer pressure, dude. Yeah. And it's like that takes a lot of finesse, and it's something I was really shitty at 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I was like more. It was more.
And it's
like,
cool to see it happen too, because deep down, like for example, I do a lot of cold plungers with some people, right? And for someone who hasn't done one before, like they don't want to do it. Dude. They also don't want to do it. They're like, what's the point of this? Like I have this one friend who absolutely is like, I don't see the point of this. Like you could spit all the facts about the benefits of cold plunging and they're like, no. But if 9 people go into the cold plunge or this river in the mountains, he's going to go. Totally. Like that 10th person's going to go because everyone else is doing it. Like that's the thing to do at this moment in time.
There's a certain like tipping point. I think I've gotten really good at like, the tipping point's not always 2 people or 3 people, 5 people. Like it depends on the group and it depends on whatever. Yeah. But it's like one of the things I've realized is like, yo, if you want things to go smoothly and you want to like push the boundaries and like push people's comfort zone, you got to, as quick as possible, give them positive peer pressure and like break that that threshold, whatever that threshold is for them.
Yeah. And I guess what does this do for you as the orchestrator of these events? Like when you see that vision of SpongeBob and like the electric guitar and everything, and then it happens and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, dude, I'm just so stoked. It's just like it's just the highest level of my creative expression. Honestly, it really is. And it's just to look around and see so many people with smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
So many people that are like connecting with each other authentically, genuinely. And yeah, it makes me feel so purposeful. I've really felt like the most purpose I've ever felt in this.
What does that mean?
Purpose?
Yeah.
Purpose is like me doing something I'm really good at that's really good for the world. You know? And so I feel like what I'm doing is very impactful and great. I'm a leader. What I really want to do is I want to inspire more people to take on their own version of leadership. It could mean hosting a movie night with 2 dudes.
Yeah.
It could mean like rallying a couple friends to go play spike ball once a week or once a month because you like spike ball. But it's like I want to inspire more people to be leaders and to like create the world that they want to live in. You know?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who have the extra time and would love a movie night with friends. And you be that person.
Totally.
Become that person to orchestrate the movie night or the spike ball or whatever, because then everyone has a better time.
Totally. And and it's just reinforcing that. It's like we always close these with like heartfelt shares, which has been another game changer that I would recommend every single community ever in the world to do. We end, everyone comes back to the parking lot, get it in a circle, and I'm like, okay, cool. Who here has something on their heart that they'd like to share tonight? Who here, it could be like a experience you felt, it could be a way you were feeling earlier this week that maybe feels different now or this month. It could be how your feelings have changed, like what's coming up for people right now. And phrasing the question like that brings up the most powerful, beautiful shares. Like we had just recently a guy come up and he was like, hey man, I don't know who you guys are really. I just jumped in the last 30 minutes. But what I can say is I've been having the worst day of my life, just broke up with a long-term partner. I came down to the beach, went to the corner store, grabbed a 40 and was sitting on the beach and cracked it. And right as I did that, this rolling ball of joy just comes down the boardwalk. And I looked at my skateboard and I was like, shit, I should jump in. And he followed us and was like, man, this has just been the coolest experience I could ever ask for that I never would have expected. And so giving people the opportunity to share in that way, inviting people to share something that's on their heart has just been like a huge way to connect other members, right? Because like I can set the tone and be like, we're here, joy and positivity. But it's like to end cap it with like a couple people's own shares around like gratitude or appreciation or maybe something that's a little bit more dark that they're working through that like.
It's also giving them a space to feel listened or feel heard, you know, because there's so many people that on his heart, he can't release that anywhere else that day. And it came at the right moment, right time.
And dude, it's so transformative to like be in front of 50 people and like say something like that on a microphone.
Oh, you have them mic'd up? You give them the microphone?
It's mic'd up. It's like, and so it's like a little scary, you know? And like in the beginning, I was uncomfortable with like silence because we'd be like, hey, does anyone have anything they want to share? Little different question. People would be like, come to my event on Saturday. It's like, okay, cool. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Oh yeah. If anyone wants to hire me, I'm a photographer. Okay.
So that's how it started.
Yeah. Does anyone have something I want to share? Right. And so it kind of was like that. So I was like, okay, heart, right? What's on your heart? What's on your, not on your mind.
Not
like,
even on your mind.
Just what's on your heart. And like leading with that and giving space. Because what we were doing in the beginning was like, okay, we're going to ask this question. If nobody responds in the first 6 or 7 seconds, somebody on our leadership team is going to prime the well and they're going to raise their hand and they're going to come up just to get things rolling.
Yeah.
But what we learned is that in doing that, the same people just shared over and over. Maybe they weren't always people on our leadership team, but it was like other people that are more comfortable. And so what we started doing is being like, we wait until somebody comes. Sometimes it takes 15 seconds. Somebody always comes.
That's a long time, though.
But somebody always comes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can just see like the tension build for some people, and some people are like, maybe, and it's like giving them the space to make that choice and inviting like, hey, we're looking for somebody for the next share. We get 2 shares left, but next share, like somebody that this is their first time here at Vibe Ride, or maybe they're a newer member, and just like waiting. And I've never had it that I wait and nobody comes up. Somebody always comes up. And there's like 10 other people that wish they would have come up, but they weren't feeling confident enough in that moment. Maybe they'll share next week.
Yeah. Because they want to come back.
Because they want to come back.
Because they felt good about that experience.
Totally.
The reason why I asked about the wealth thing is because I've been thinking a lot about social capital. Like the friendships and the connections that you have in your life, and what that provides you in terms of like a wealthy life. Because I've met a lot of people who have a lot of money, but they aren't wealthy in the social capital aspect. They don't have someone to like listen to or be a part of, or, you know, and what you're doing provides a lot of social capital for yourself and other people. Yeah. You know, and I guess, how do you value that social capital over everything else?
It's very intangible. I have some really great references throughout my life that are just like, yes, this is undeniably so powerful and so valuable. And the one that comes to mind is my experience stunt doubling for Vin Diesel. It came at a time, it was around 2015, where a lot of the longboard companies, their budgets were starting to shrink. Yeah. But I didn't care because they weren't paying me anyways.
Sure.
And I was like on the up and up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. And I was like kind of starting to become one of the pro guys, like, okay, maybe they pay for some travel. But what happened is like all the top couple guys for a lot of these companies during this time, they got their, you know, monthly check cut in half. And so they're like, I'm putting less time into this. I'm not putting more time into this, which is fair, right? You get your pay cut. It's like, okay, whatever. But because of that, I saw a huge opportunity where I was like, man, I'm doing more than a lot of these guys already. And I might not be the best skater or the most popular skater, but I'm going to try my best. And my goal is going to be to provide so much value and stay in such good contact that like when an opportunity does come, they have to choose me. They can't choose anybody else. They have to choose me.
Yeah, no one's on top of mind besides you.
Right. And so that's what happened. I mean, I was sitting in community college. I was sitting in community college, man, dorky, 7 a.m. It was like a math class. And I roll into class and I get a call from one of my sponsors at the time. And I was like, why is he calling so early? This is so strange. I answer the phone. He's like, hey, Brandon, blah, blah, blah. We just, talked to some guy. There's like some sort of movie or something. Like, I don't really, they want your like measurements. Like we recommended you. They want your like, and I was like, what do you mean measurements? They're like, yeah, like, can you like your arm? And I was like, for what? They're like, I don't know, just cue. I was like, yeah, I guess I go to the weight room and have the, lifting coach like
measure your forearms.
It was like wrist, forearm, like bicep. It was like all this other shit. And I was like, what is it for? They're like, well, it's for like a movie or something. I was like, a movie? In my head, I was like, student film or something. I don't know. So I like left my math class, went over there. Weightlifting coach, like, man, can you help me out with this? Like, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. And then what happened was,
there was a weightlifting coach at community college and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like the PE coach.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, didn't really think much of it. I was like, I don't know, weird student film or something. And I get a call from this guy at like 9 or 10 at night that was like, hey man, what's up? It's Scott. It's just like so much energy. And I was like, Scott, have we met before? And he's like, you're not expecting my call? And I'm like, no. No. And he's like, okay, well, we don't have much time here, but can you fly to Toronto tomorrow morning? And I was like, well, maybe. Like it was no bullshit. He was just cutting to the chase. Yeah. I was like,
what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, maybe. Like I got school, but like I don't know. I'm like kind of crazy like that. I was like missing school for some skate events. So I was like, I got him. Maybe. And he's like, cool. Can you be in the Dominican Republic for like 3 weeks? Like you got your passport? Like we can do that. Toronto, Dominican Republic, you're good to go. I was like, it's like kind of the last 3 weeks of the semester. So it kind of like probably like, fuck that up a little bit.
Fucks up finals and everything.
Yeah. Like, and he's like, okay, cool. So, okay. And can you shave your head tonight? And when he said, can you shave your head tonight? I was like doing the math. I was like, okay, you want me to flee the country, be in Dominican Republic without much internet for 3 weeks. And you want me to shave my head, conceal my identity. I had like long hair at the time.
Yeah.
I was like,
A lot of big changes there.
yeah. I was like, man, like, what is this about? Like, what's going on here? He's like, well, it's triple X. And I was like, triple X?
Did you watch the first 2 movies at this point?
I was not thinking the movies, dude. I was thinking it was a gay film, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because he just so confident. He's like, oh, it's triple X. I was like, what?
Those XXX movies.
Yeah. And so I kind of paused and I was like, and he's like, well, like the action movie. And I was like, oh, I think I heard of that before. He's like, yeah, we need a skateboarder, like a downhill skater for a stunt scene. I was like, oh, cool. Like, what do you need me for? They're like, well, we're looking for somebody to stunt double for Vin Diesel. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And I was like, and okay.
Yeah. How
Sure.
did you know him though, in terms of that connection?
This guy, he worked at Paramount. He was like a stunt coordinator.
Okay.
So he just for whatever reason saw my stuff and was like, we need a guy. This is the guy. Gave me a call. And so it was just, so random. And the funny part about the end of that conversation was that he was like, well, I'm looking here at your measurements and stuff. And like, Vin Diesel, Vin's like 6 foot, like 215 pounds. Like it's showing here that you're like 5'11" and 170 pounds, which bro, I was like 5'10" and like 150.
Okay.
But I like kind of like fudged the numbers a little bit. I can't remember why. Like maybe like there was a hint or something. Like, I wore a big, really baggy t-shirt when I like took the picture.
Yeah. Like tell me what you need. I'll be that.
a little bit, there was something along the lines of like that. And so he was like, but even my, push numbers, he was like, oh, he seems a little small.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like, is there any chance any other skaters that are a little bit closer to Vin's size that could work for this? And I was like, nope. We're all skinny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I was just flying by the seat of my pants, and I just remember doing that whole adventure and doing that whole trip, and like I didn't ask how much I was getting paid. I didn't ask shit. I was just like, how can I be most helpful? Okay, cool. And I was just being super cool to everybody.
What was it? I guess what made you have the courage to just like quit school? Because like you probably didn't go back after that.
Eventually,
you went back.
Eventually, I went to Portland State. Yeah, I took 3 years off. And then I like went back. Man, it was the guys that were on set. Like they're so cool. I formed a cool relationship with them. And these are like the top dogs. Like they're the guys that are doing the second unit stunt production for like the biggest movies, like all the Bourne Ultimatum and all the shit. And like one of the guys had like the rigging company and lived down here. It was like such a vibe. And we're like talking, shoot's like wrapping up after a few weeks. And they're like, man, you should come down to California. We'll get you into stunts, no prob. And I was like,
are you in the stunt world too after that?
Not really.
Okay.
I've done skateboarding stunts, but I haven't really like done stunt stuff. But yeah, just like, I was like, oh, cool. That sounds amazing. Like, yeah, I should probably finish up like the last little bit of school. Like I got another term here. It was the trimesters, so spring term. And then I'll probably come down in summer. And the guy looked at me and he's like, bro, you just stunt doubled for Vin Diesel. They're going to pay you close to $100,000.
Yeah.
And we're the dudes. You can stay at our place for free. We'll pay you.
They're all wins,
and train
dude.
you.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you not coming to Los Angeles like next week,
Yeah.
dude? Next week. And so I was like, damn, I needed to hear that. Thank you. So I went home, looked up sick motorcycles in Oregon, bought a sick motorcycle and just drove down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
in terms of the social capital too, like it helped a lot with your bus as well. With your buddy helped you design it, right?
Totally.
Yeah. You want to tell that story? I guess like you want to explain what the bus is?
Yeah.
And why you got a school bus?
Yeah. It's the shred sled.
The shred sled.
So that was the origin of Beyond the Board. It was basically coming into 2021. We were doing all those workshops and they were going well.
Yeah.
And got this epic opportunity to star in this like Facebook commercial, or the commercial Facebook did for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And help choreograph it.
That looks sick, by the way. I watched the commercial before this, and I was like, whoa, I've seen it before too.
Yeah.
I also watched the Vin Diesel movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I was like, I definitely know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
So it was cool. So like that came about, and like that was like gonna pay pretty good money, and I was like had one of those like late night ideas where I was like, wouldn't it be cool if And the if was if we buy a bus and pit my ride, exhibit the shit out, and drive around the country and teach people how to skate all around the country. So take like what we've built and all this like successful programming and like good vibes of
and
California and make it bigger and just spread it to the world. Because this was also like, man, it was June 2021. It was like people were just barely starting to take their masks off. And I kind of had to make this decision where I was like, man, that'd be so cool. It's like June. We either have to like do that right now, like I got to buy a bus this week, or it has to wait till next year. Because like you can't just like manifest a bus like instantly. Like I had to like go buy a bus, and then we had to like, you know, pimp it out.
But you kind of did
a
it.
whole month.
You kind of did it instantly though.
We did it instantly. I mean, I was like, I'm shitty at waiting, dude. I'm so impatient.
Yeah.
I'm the worst with that. I'm like, whenever I get an idea, and I'm just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? And I'm like, got this vision of
ideas are fleeting. Right. If you don't act on them right away, like they could maybe never happen. Like the minute the idea comes into your brain, it's the most, I guess, big idea at the time. Like it kind of loses its power.
Most fertile.
Yeah. It kind of loses its fertility as the time goes on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So just that, I just felt a certain way about it. And I was like, man, this is going to take all the money from the Facebook thing. And like, I'm gonna have to put some of this on a credit card. You know, it costs like $30,000 to like buy the bus, pimp it out, and do all that. So that was like a good chunk of change. Yeah. And to do a tour around the country, that's not free either. Like pay a videographer, and like the gas is $1 a mile.
Yeah.
And so it was like, you know, I was committing to basically spend $50,000.
At least you had your buddy who helped design it for you.
Totally.
Like in terms of connections, dude, like one connection could make a bus happen. One connection can make the commercial happen, you know?
Exactly. So I had a buddy that I basically taught how to use a camera up in Oregon, and we were working at a Guitar Center together. And how I met him was I broke up with my high school sweetheart, and I was like, fine, I'm going to go learn how to play guitar and be sad boy. So I like went to Guitar Center.
Kind of a move.
Yeah, kind of a move, right? So I went to Guitar Center, and I went in like 3 days in a row looking at guitars, and this one guy that had, you know, slick looking guy that had like a little bleached out skunk stripe like in his hair. Character looking guy was like, I came in the third time. He's like, man, you're here so often. Like they should just pay you to be here. And I was like, okay. And I bought that guitar. And then as I was going out, I saw they do lessons. I was like, oh, I'll just do lessons too. Okay, why not? So then I like came back the 4th day and the 5th day and the 6th day. And I was just like there all the time. And the guy was like, man, you should like, he was just joking at me. He's like, man, when are they going to pay you to come here?
Yeah.
And so then they like had some sort of interviews.
So you ended up working at Guitar Center?
Bro, like, yeah, like the next week I was working at Guitar Center. And they were like, man, well, you know, it's a group interview, like 25 people. Everyone fucking knows about music. I don't know shit about music. I'm like still working on my like.
The guys at Guitar Center like know their shit.
Most of them, not me.
Oh, okay.
Not me, dude.
Like when I went in to get I got my podcasting gear from Guitar Center actually. Nice. And they just named everything about every equipment, and it just went right over my head. I was like,
but sometimes it's right. They know a lot of shit. Doesn't always mean you're a great salesperson.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I had is like I had like this like charm that like I basically went in there and they're like going around and picking on certain people like, what would you do if boom or blah 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 whatever. And people are like, oh, I would recommend the blah 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 blah. And everyone's like trying to be all too techie and in their head. And I was like, and they're like, okay, Brandon, like what's a goal? Why do you want to work here? And I was like, because I want to sell more shit than Isaac. And Isaac was the guy that sold me the guitar, and he was like the top seller at the store.
Yeah. And
like kind of the cool guy. So I was like, I'm just gonna sell more than Isaac. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. And just like, and it was just talking out of my teeth because I didn't know what else to say. I couldn't say anything smart about music.
Did you want to work at Guitar Center?
Like at the time, I was like between jobs, and I was like, dude, I was spending every day there because I was like
learning
getting a guitar, you know, and whatever.
Getting your mind off the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so anyways, that guy Isaac, over the course of like the next few months, I started filming his music videos and like teaching him how to get a camera and like how to use it and like whatever. And yeah, that relationship I just gave and gave and gave. And over the years, he's like started doing this like song a week series. And then like he ended up like moving out and then like building a van. And then at one point, like building a bus, upgrading and building a bus. And like, it was just still a person I was just like giving. And then like when this whole idea came together, bus, I was like, he's the first guy I called. I was like, we got to do it now or like later. And I like called and I was like, hey man, like crazy ass idea. What if I show up with a bus like next week in Oregon? Like, could you help me build it in 30 days? Because I really want to be like on the road by August.
Yeah.
And he's like, what, dude? This is so random. He's like, honestly, dude, you've been so nice to me. You've been so kind. Like, if you really buy a bus, because most people talk out their ass.
Yeah.
He's like, I got people fucking every day telling me they're going to buy a bus. He's like, if you really buy a bus, we'll make it happen. Like, I don't know how. Like, I'm in the middle of a bunch of other shit, but like, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And I called him back like 2 days later, like, bro, I got a bus. And he's like, no way you got a bus. There's no fucking way you got a bus.
You did it. You did the thing. You manifested that shit.
Yeah, dude. But it was like, man, if I didn't have Isaac, dude,
it wouldn't have happened. That one connection.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened, or it wouldn't be what it is. You know?
It wouldn't be how you wouldn't have got it that quickly in 1 month.
There's no way, dude. And then like how everything came together. It's like I had a buddy, Cole Kurtz. There was longtime buddy through skating, and he was working Sierra Nevada brewing, and he heard what we were doing, and we didn't have any sponsors at the time, and he's like, hey man, do you want to do stuff with Sierra Nevada? And I was like, nah, I don't really want to work with an alcohol brand. Thank you for the offer. I want it to be like high vibes. And then after like a couple of weeks, he's like checking in, like, oh, how's everything going for the tour, man? So exciting. Like, how you doing? And I'm like, well, it's great. The bus is almost done, but we don't have any money. And so he's like, oh, okay. Well, we have a hard kombucha brand in Sierra Nevada.
We like that.
And I was like, yeah, that's like kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll do that.
It's
like
on
alcohol,
the border. It's on the line.
Yeah. I was like, it's healthy. It's like probiotic. Okay, cool.
It's good for your gut.
Yeah. But man, he was able to write, $15,000 check for that first tour.
Wow.
With like, Beyond the Board was not an Instagram account. Like, when I was pitching people, bro, I was literally at my buddy's Isaac's workshop in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, and like I take a Zoom call, paint all over my shirt, hair all crusty. I wore the same pair of shorts for a month, dude.
Wow.
We auctioned them off at the end.
I love that.
Some old lady got them. It's great.
I love that.
But yeah, just crusty as fuck. Everyone's like, oh my God, oh, this is cool. What are you doing again? Oh, we're doing this tour, blah, 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 blah. They're like, wow, I didn't know you had a bus, Brandon. That's incredible. I was like, yeah, I just got it 2 weeks ago. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's right here. Like showing them. And they're like, it's not done yet?
It'll be done.
Yeah. They're like, wait, you're supposed to leave in 3 weeks. It's not done yet?
That's
Do you even know where you're going?
What was that tour like, dude? Like, who did you bring on it with you? Like, how was it, the transportation of everything, the storage of boards? How did you connect with people in different cities? Like,
Yeah, it was so random the first year, man.
Yeah.
The first year it was me and my ex-girlfriend at the time, this girl, Brooke Johnson.
do you continue doing these tours every year?
This will be the first year we don't.
Okay.
But we've done 4 of them.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, this year I'm really excited about putting all my energy into Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Just like putting foot on the gas, like boom.
And building the community here.
Yeah, because like, man, it was so cool to do all these tours all over the place. But like, I don't really get to cash in on those relationships very often.
Yeah, because it's like you see them one time.
Or once a year maybe.
Yeah.
And so it's like, when I say cash in, it's like, I don't even get to like consider a lot of these people close friends because I see them once or twice a year. And it's like, to go around and like spread so much joy and positivity and optimism is awesome, but it takes so many resources. And so it's like, in the past year, I've like, reevaluated and looked around and been like, yo, I get so much out of the time I put into these relationships locally. And like, it does not cost that much to do it.
Yeah, you don't need to pay $1
I
a gallon.
don't need $50,000 to like
Go around the U.S.
Yeah, totally. And so yeah, the first tour was like just so random, and it was really just from my social media following. Really, it was like, we're gonna be here, show up.
Show up. That's it.
Show up.
So you didn't like a book.
We did.
Okay.
We did. Like we didn't like rent any spaces, but we like worked with a couple local skate shops. So it was like, okay. Basically, how it worked is we're like, okay, we'll do like long weekends. So we did like Seattle, 3 or 4 day weekend. We did Portland. We did San Francisco. We did Salt Lake City, Phoenix, and Los Angeles. And we'd spend like 3 days, like doing a variety of different events. We do some stuff like longboard dancing workshops. My partner was doing like women's meetups. We'd also host these like sometimes competitions. And then the big part of it was like we do these skate scavenger hunts. So it's fun. Like, everyone, you get a team, you get a challenge list. Whoever gets the most points after 2 hours wins. It's just a bunch of wacky stuff. Yeah. Jump into the Venice canals fully clothed. Kiss a homeless person.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Buy street art from a female artist.
Okay.
So it's, it's
there you go.
It's like PG-13.
Balancing it out.
It's like, it was inspired by King of the Road a little bit.
Okay.
It's this skater thing where it's like all the challenges are like, points for like how many beers you drank or how many like all this like crazy shit. And I was like, okay, like that, but like a little more PG-13, a little more high vibes.
Yeah. Love that, bro.
And so, yeah.
In terms of taking risks and not having a plan, like you have this vision for all these things that you've created, but you don't know if they're going to happen. Like you don't know, you didn't know that you're going to get hit up by Vin Diesel's team, or you didn't know that.
Yeah, no idea.
No idea.
That was never a consideration.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I guess why take the risk without knowing the true outcome of it? Like it's so scary to do. And like how do you jump so high without seeing the how low you can fall?
Right. Yeah, it's the elusive biscuit. You gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit, baby.
Right. Risk it for the biscuit. But yeah, sometimes you don't know what the biscuit is. For me, it just comes back to like what gets me excited. Like what can I do that's gonna like maximize my time I'm spending curiously and creatively. And so I would say it's maybe even a fault at times.
How so?
Like I could have made way more money in my life. I'm still young and I will, right? But it's like there's so many choices I made that were like financially irresponsible, or like, man, buying a bus, driving around the country, it didn't make any money, bro. Like in the past couple of years, I probably spent...
It makes a good story though.
It makes an epic story, dude. It's the life I want to live. It's the life I want to live, bro. But we probably spent $150K on that in the past couple of years. And like most of that was like sponsorships, but I definitely donated like probably 20,000 of my own dollars in the past, or more if we include the bus, man. $40,000.
Yeah. Where do you store that thing?
It's in front of my house.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like I didn't know what it was even going to be, dude. It wasn't a nonprofit the first year. It was literally just I'm buying a bus and we're just spreading love through skating.
Yeah.
Woohoo, let's go.
Yeah.
Like it was just, so I don't know. I think like as long as you're following a path of excitement, like sure, you're going to have challenges. Shit's not going to work out how you want to. But like at the end of the day, like all I want is a certain feeling, I am detached from the outcome. And it's like such a cliche thing around here. Everyone's like, detached from the outcome, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. It's like, okay, how do I really want that very specific outcome? Or do I want the feeling that I think that outcome is going to give me? Right? And you really want the feeling that you think that outcome is going to give you, but people get so glued to the outcome. And it's like when you're glued to the outcome, you might end up sacrificing how you end up feeling to actually get to that outcome. When in reality, you just wanted the feeling. Yeah. And so like, for me, I'm just chasing the feeling.
Like a lot of people want the view at the mountaintop, but they forget about the climb.
Right.
Yeah. Like all the hard stuff in between. It's like, oh, you want the feeling of conquering that mountain or building that bus. But like, how many nights did you spend putting that bus together, bro? Like right. It looks so cool right now. We're on social media and all that stuff, but there's a lot of work behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the point of, what's the purpose of consistency and momentum, or like, what's the importance of it?
Yeah. I remember seeing this graph a couple of years ago and it just like changed the game for me. It was like some sort of graph where it was like only working on things when you're inspired to work on things. And it was like, okay, cool. You like have these little notches where it's like mostly all positive because like you're in a good mood and you're like, okay, cool. But you're chipping away at a thing a couple times a month where it's like, yo, if you just have a habit of doing it every day, some days it's gonna be great, some days it's gonna be bad. But it's just like there's so much movement and activity that like an object in motion stays in motion. And it's like once you start to build this momentum, there's so much power behind that. And so it's like better to just have a habit around whatever you want, even if your output that day isn't great, or even if you're not feeling inspired, because it's really action that creates the motivation.
Oh, okay.
It's not like you don't like get motivated and then take action. From everyone smart I've learned, like, you're in fitness, right? So do you only go to the gym when you feel motivated to go to the gym?
I would argue that most days I don't want to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you get there, it's like, cool.
Right. Yeah. And it's like the action of going to the gym gets you motivated about being at the gym and gets you feeling good about being at the gym.
Yeah. Is that similar to skating? Or do you always want to skate?
I have a lot of other things I like too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love skating.
In terms of the process of getting good at skating.
For me, it was really just spending so much time with my board
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, it was just like a tool to get me out of the house. I was like, peace out, mom and dad. When are you gonna be home? I'm like, I don't know. Definitely after dark. Peace.
Yeah.
And so it was like just in spending so much time with my board, I like got good at it. You know?
So just the amount of volume around it that
Yeah.
you versus trying to get that kickflip the first day.
Right. And I mean, dude, I was relentless about practicing, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's like I wasn't practicing only twice a week when I felt great about practicing. I was just skating every day. And some days I was just chilling because I was like, I'm just trying to whatever. And some days I'd be really motivated. But in going out 7 days a week, I would have, you know, maybe 3 epic sessions where I felt like I made a bunch of progress, and 4 that were like, okay, it was all right.
Yeah.
Or maybe 1 that was like kind of shitty and I was like hurt myself or like felt like I couldn't land anything.
Yeah. What's your biggest injury, bro? Going bombing down these hills and everything.
Man, I've been so lucky. And I've also like have a pretty good like risk tolerance.
Okay.
Where it's like people look at the shit I do and they're like, yo, you're crazy, dude.
For sure.
It's something people have told me for
I look
the
at it
longest
like it all
time.
the
They're like, you're fearless, dude. I could never do that. And I was like, you don't understand. All my friends called me a pussy for the longest time because I would show up at these hills and I would only go down the bottom 20% of the hill.
You're the 10th guy on the coal plunge.
Yeah, dude. Right. But it's like what I would do is I would start there and it's like I'd 20% of the hill. I'd literally like put a rock. And the next time I do it, I'd walk up and I'd move the rock.
Wow.
It would take me 30 runs to like actually do the whole hill that my friends just like bombed first try because I was like so scared and so like, I don't know about this.
Got you chills.
Right. But
Yeah.
then, you know, years later, it's like I've practiced so much that I have such proficiency that it's not scary. And so people have this like feeling that I just like did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't just do it. I like was so slow and methodical and calculated and just like step by step that now I'm finally at the top of the hill and I have the confidence because I had the confidence the whole time. I was like, I'm going to start here because I know I'm only going to go 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour if I start here. If I go from the top, I know it's 40, 45 miles an hour and I might hurt myself super bad.
So no crazy injuries.
Crazy is, you know, some people think
Like
like skin
breaking
elbows
bone.
crazy. Fortunately, I've never had any broken bones.
Love that,
That I
dude.
know of. Maybe like a broken rib. Like I've had some like ones where I'm like for a month or so, just like,
Yeah. In terms of cars and stuff, do you guys put that into a factor when you're bombing hills?
oh yeah. You just have to imagine that the worst driver in the world that's texting, that does 7-point turns on canyons, like they're just always out there.
Yeah.
It's like with, you know, riding a motorcycle too. It's the same thought process. It's just the skating is actually way more chill than riding the motorcycle. The motorcycle I have like so many more obstacles.
Yeah.
Like coming through traffic, man, it's like, you know, there's this car and this car and this car and people merging and lanes and boom and the ground. And it's like, and I ride pretty fast too. So it's like, you know, there's a lot going on. When you're skating down hills, it's like, okay, there like might be a car in that intersection or there might be something here, but you're not like flying down the interstate on your board, you know.
I forgot
and
which guys. They take a lot of skating videos in San Francisco. It's
GX 1000.
Yeah.
I think 100 or 1000.
1,000. Like
Yeah,
their videos are crazy too. Like
Yeah.
they dodge cars all the time, and
Yeah,
I watch
yeah.
that shit. I'm just like, that's scary because it's not your skill set. It's other people like driving.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You kind of get a sense of the flow of traffic. Like imagine we're coming down to a 4-way intersection. We're bombing a hill. It's 30 miles an hour. We're coming to a 4-way intersection. You maybe can't see the cars pulling up because it's kind of blind intersection. Like maybe there's some houses, right? But as I'm going in, I am always, always, always going to be as far left as I possibly can because if somebody is coming across the road this way and stops, I'm going to see them first, right? So I can kind of see them. If they come here, I like have space. I don't know.
To
There's
navigate a
there's
little
kind of
bit.
a flow. There's kind of a flow where it's like you want to position yourself in certain places because it's like if I'm here, there's the highest likelihood that if somebody does come, I can dodge it.
yeah, because
You know.
you're also going so quick.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So it's like if I'm here and I see this guy come and then he starts going, okay, maybe I can pass him here. But if I was in the right lane and this guy comes and starts coming in front of me, we might match up exactly at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So I know that if I'm coming down this hill and a car stops here and I'm here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to come all the way across so that I have time for this guy to go.
There's a method to the madness.
There's a method to the madness. It's just like,
that's crazy.
It's like neural networks.
Yeah. How do you decide where to put your attention? Because to get good at
skating.
Anything,
okay.
Yeah, because with business too, like at least for me, so I was bartending, podcasting, personal training, working at like 4 gyms at one point, like 3 years ago. And I was not doing anything extremely well. And I started cutting 2 or 3 things off every single year. I guess for you, like you're running this business and you decided to put more attention in LA than outside. I guess like how do you decide where to like pay your attention to?
A good guiding principle has always been double what's working and cut what's not working. So it's like, if you think about it, like what's the top 10, 20% of the things I'm doing that are like working well or the most well.
Yeah. In terms of working well, like how do you define working well?
That's a hard one, dude.
Yeah.
That's a really hard one. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But I would say like one thing that's been working really well for me recently on this new journey is just talking with people, man. Like setting up coffee dates, learning from others. That's been working really well.
Just learning from their experiences from it? Yeah.
You know, in like this public speaking journey, I like haven't been paid for it. I don't really know what's going on here.
What makes you want to, I guess, be a public speaker?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, so it was 6 or 7 years ago. I was on the boardwalk in Venice. I was on one of my travels. I was just enjoying myself. I was longboarding around, doing some tricks, whatever. And I meet this girl, and she comes up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, you know how to longboard? Oh, cool. I got a board or whatever. Sweet." And she's like, "Oh, I'm like the influencer manager for this like event. You should like come out. It'll be cool." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, cool." And I show up to this event, bro, and it's like this exclusive elitist like conference called Patau that's like a few hundred people, and it's like Shaq and like
sick,
like all these like big time speakers and like all this shit, and it's like I'm definitely the least success, maybe the least had the least accolades out of anybody that was like there. It was all like executive team of like
bangers.
Yeah, Meta and fucking Red Bull and like MasterCard, everything. Like all these huge celebrities and stuff. And I just remember going to this event, and it was my first time like really being in a crowd with motivational speakers. And one of the motivational speakers that stood out to me was a guy named Seb Terry.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, Seb Terry.
Okay.
He's incredible. He's got this whole thing that's like 100 things. So it's like, you know, writing a bucket list before you die. What are like 100 epic things that would make your life feel complete and fulfilling.
Yeah.
Fulfilling. And so his presentation was just so powerful. He was the keynote speaker, and it was just so powerful that I was like, man, I'm like in such a small space with all these people. Like, they're going to think I'm like cool enough to talk to them, you know, just because like it's such a small thing. I was like, you know,
you're in the environment.
So I came to him with so much confidence and was just like, man, love what you're doing. So cool, blah, blah, blah. We exchanged contact info, and we've kept in touch over the past couple of years. And he's been a cool, like, guiding force and a cool, like, mentor. And yeah, I've just been so moved by that experience, and just by the general like, yeah, motivational speaking thing, that I was like, man, after that weekend I had so many notes, I was like recording all the audios, and I was like writing all these notes, and I was just like so fired up, and it really changed my life, this event. And so it's ever since then, it just like got me so hyped, dude.
On life.
I was just like, I felt so motivated. Motivational speaker, felt motivated. Go figure.
Yeah.
Right?
It did the job.
It did the job. And so I was like so hyped, but it was never something I really considered myself doing.
But you do it every week.
I do now.
Oh, okay.
You know, but this was like 7 years ago. So it was like, for a couple of years there, I was just like, oh, cool. And it was just like, that's cool. I love this. And I got into Gary Vee and like Jesse Itzler and all these other different people that are like, I love Jesse
Itzler.
Dude, he's a vibe.
Yeah.
Love him. I saw him in live. Have you ever seen him in person?
No.
Bro, so sick. Because he does like the live DJ while he's going. So he's like kind of builds in the backing track and like a little bit of ambient music.
One thing I love about him is his life resume.
Yeah.
I have the calendar. It's like his
big ass calendar.
Yeah. the misogi.
Yeah.
Of having like weekly, monthly, yearly defining goals that you look back on that year and you have something to show for it. It's your resume, you know? And I feel like so many people like go through life and they don't know what happened in 2022 or like whatever like that. But like, oh, in 2022, I XYZ, you know, like it's cool to make those, put intention into your life, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have any life defining goals this year?
It's a great question. You know, I've kind of been in this phase of like, it feels like boring for me. I feel like such an adult, but it's really just trying to like refine what I've already got going on.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of greatness comes from the same repetitive stuff and just getting better at it.
It does, you know, and like I'm doing plenty of things. I haven't really gotten to the misogi thing yet. Yeah, but I guess like for this year, the question was this year, like what's something that's maybe like...
Yeah, life defining.
Life defining. Man, I think this public speaking stuff feels really life defining for me. Like, you know, going back to like that story is like, yeah, I just felt so moved. And it's like in going through my journey of like building community and like coaching people, I learned pretty quickly that being a good communicator and a good speaker is night and day for like the experience people are going to have. If you show up to an event,
I would say that could define the event, the whole event.
Totally, dude. Yeah, totally. Just set the tone. So it's like in the beginning, I was like way more awkward. Like, okay, hey guys, we're here. We're gonna be skating. Thanks for coming out. Woo.
Yeah, even though you're the best skater out there or something like that.
Right. Now it was cool. I brought hype energy, but there was no story. There was no like emotional connection. There was no tension. I would just talk super fast because like, oh, blah, 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 because I was just nervous.
Just get in and out.
And so like over the course of me like getting really deep on like how do I host better experiences, how do I design better experiences, it became really clear. I was like, okay, I got to be a better speaker. And so like then I got more into that, then more into storytelling, and then I started like, you know, using Vibrite as an opportunity for me like every week to practice and tell a story. And like in practicing, I was like, oh my God, like this is so many of these topics I'm talking about can be so helpful for so many people, and they're so powerful for the people in our community. Like it would just be a dream to be able to share that message with an even bigger audience.
That's awesome, dude. Where can everyone find you?
They can find me in Venice Beach.
Venice Beach in terms of social media?
Yeah, I know. Social media. Social media, they can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Not Grindr yet. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. OnlyFans yet. No. I mean, I got all the social media. It's
I'll link it. We'll link it. Before we close up, bro, I want to talk about what does coaching do for you? Because like you're basically using your words and your hands and actions to have someone download a skill that you already have. You know, and at least for me as a coach for weightlifting and kettlebells and stuff like that, I find it like super rewarding on my end. But I guess like, what's your process of coaching someone how to do a skill, and what does it do for you?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. You know, for me, I feel the biggest thing I've learned is you want to give people a feeling and a sense of accomplishment as quick as possible and as often as possible. Like 3 quick wins is something I always try to focus on. It's like when so many people try to teach skating or whatever it might be, it's like, okay, here's how you do a kickflip. You're here, and then you jump, and you flick the board, and you land on it. It's a kickflip.
Yeah.
It's like those are 3 steps, but like, how do you get to that point? And so for me, I'm like, I focus like, okay, cool. Do you know how to like touch your tail on the ground? Do you know how to like boom and like kind of get the back wheels up? Okay, cool. Oh, you did that? Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Win.
Done.
Win.
And it's like, okay, cool. Can you like try and pop the board up and just like flick it, just not land up, but just have it just do that? It's like, oh, cool, you did it. Nice. Because what I learned is like most people, they have the physical capabilities to do it, but they don't have the confidence in themselves. And something with skateboarding, like you have to commit. If you half-ass jump off a staircase, the odds of you getting hurt are so much more than if you just go for it.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like when people have some of their worst injuries, like rolling their ankle, breaking their wrist, these happen when people are like, okay, I'm going to do the trick. And then it's like, I don't have it.
Yeah.
And they jump off last second and they try and save it and the board's in a weird place and they roll their ankle and they're busted. And so it's like, if you can give them the confidence by like breaking whatever you're teaching down into as many small steps as possible and being like, oh, you got that and that and that and that. You're good at this.
It's the rock on the hill.
Totally. When people feel like they're good at something, like, really? I'm good at something? It's like, yeah, you're good at this. It's like, oh, okay. And then when they actually go to try the thing, such a higher level of them, such a higher probability of them actually doing it because they're committing to it because they believe in themselves and they believe it's possible. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe it's possible, why would you even try? You know?
Yeah. And what does that do for you, having them download that kickflip?
It allows me to relive my skateboarding journey and wishing that I had a skate coach when I started. I was just banging my shit up, dude. It took me years of just like hurting myself over and over to figure out.
Yeah,
you know?
That's one thing that I love about having a coach or a mentor. It allows you to get the experience without like having the scars from skateboarding, if that makes sense.
Totally.
You know?
A lot of shortcuts.
Yeah, that's it. You want to talk about anything else, bro? I think we're good.
I feel pretty complete. I also have to pee like a racehorse right now.
All right. Everyone, Mr. Brandon, go check out Vibe Ride. Go check him out in Venice, and I'll put all the links there. Thanks for coming on, bro. Thanks for taking the track.
Nate. Appreciate you, man.
See you guys. Bye. Bang, bang.
That was great, dude.